You missed a spot. The voice cut through the crystal chandeliers and champagne laughter. Marcus Chen didn't look up from the marble floor he was mopping. The Grandeur Hotel ballroom sparkled $50,000 worth of flowers, 1,000 candles, 300 of the city's most powerful people celebrating Davenport Industries' annual gala. I said, you missed a spot. Richard Davenport's Italian leather shoes stepped directly onto the wet floor. Are you deaf or just incompetent? The room quieted. Conversations died. All eyes turned. Marcus slowly straightened, his blue janitor's uniform worn but clean. At 42, his face showed lines earned through experience, not weakness. He met Davenport's eyes with unsettling calm. My apologies, sir. I'll clean it again. Damn right you will. Davenport turned to his audience, arms spread wide. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what I've been talking about. Some people are born to lead, others to follow. This man, he's been mopping these floors for 2 years. 2 years. Same job, same spot, no ambition. This is why wealth inequality exists. Some people simply refuse to better themselves. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. A few clapped. Marcus watched them all with dark, unreadable eyes. You know what your problem is? Davenport stepped closer, bourbon breath hot. You're invisible, a ghost. You could disappear tomorrow and nobody would even notice. Is that what you think, Mr. Davenport? Something in Marcus's tone made Davenport pause. The words were respectful, but underneath ran a current of danger. What I think, Davenport sneered, is that you should get back to work before security throws you out of my party. Your party? Marcus tilted his head. Interesting phrasing. Are you being smart with me? No, sir. Just observing. Marcus picked up his mop bucket. I'll clean that spot. Wouldn't want anyone to slip. Accidents can be devastating. He moved away smoothly, but the entire room felt the shift. Something had happened, though nobody could name it. Davenport watched Marcus disappear into the service corridor, jaw clenched, suddenly uncertain why his hands were shaking. Near the bar, a woman in an elegant black dress, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, investigative journalist, pulled out her phone and typed, "He's making contact. It's happening tonight." Marcus pushed his cart into the corridor and stopped, closing his eyes. In his mind, another ballroom appeared 15 years earlier. Dad, you don't have to do this. Yes, son, I do. His father, James Chen, former Davenport Industries executive, straightened his tie. If I don't testify tomorrow, 12 people will die in those factory explosions. Davenport knows the equipment is faulty. He'll destroy you. Better destroyed than complicit. The next morning, James Chen's car went off a bridge. Brake failure. Tragic accident. The testimony never happened. The factories exploded 6 months later. 12 workers dead. Davenport paid the fines and continued building his empire. Marcus was 27 then. MIT graduate, mechanical engineering, 3 Fortune 500 job offers, a future bright as California's sun. He turned them all down. Instead, he disappeared. Spent 5 years learning corporate forensics, evidence preservation, and patience. He learned to be alone. In that solitude, he found clarity. In invisibility, he found power. Then he applied for a janitor position at the Grandeur Hotel for 2 years. Marcus mopped floors and listened. The things rich men say when they think the help can't hear. The documents they throw away. The conversations in bathroom stalls. For 2 years, he built his case. Every receipt, every offshore account, every bribed official, every lie. Chen, his supervisor, Tommy, appeared. Davenport wants you back. Table 7, of course he does. Marcus smiled without humor. It has to be me. He returned as Davenport finished another story about people who don't apply themselves. The crowd laughed on cue. Ah, there he is. Davenport pointed. Come here. Let everyone see what failure looks like. Marcus walked forward slowly. Several people raised phones, ready to record the humiliation. Tell me, Davenport announced. What does a man think about when he's cleaning up after his betters? Many things, Mr. Davenport. Marcus stopped, 3 feet away. Justice, mostly. Justice. Davenport laughed. That's rich. Yes, Marcus said quietly. It certainly is. You know what? Davenport turned to his diamond-draped wife. I think our janitor friend has delusions of grandeur. Maybe we should help him understand his place. Catherine Davenport smirked. Darling, don't be cruel. Cruel? I'm being educational. He snapped his fingers. What's your name again? Marcus Chun. Marcus Chen. Tell everyone what you make per hour. $15. $15. I make that in the time it takes to breathe. Davenport pulled out his wallet, counting bills dramatically. Here's 100. Consider it a tip. He dropped the bills on the wet floor. Pick it up. The crowd went silent. Even the string quartet stopped. Marcus looked at the money, then at Davenport. No thank you, excuse me. I said no. I'm not a dog. Someone gasped. Davenport's face reddened. You ungrateful, do you know what I could do to you? 1 phone call and you'll never work again. 1 phone call, Marcus repeated softly. Interesting, because 15 years ago, someone made 1 phone call about you. Do you remember, Mr. Davenport? The temperature dropped 10 degrees. What are you talking about? James Chen, corporate whistleblower. He was going to testify about factory safety violations. Then his brakes failed. Tragic accident. Marcus's voice remained calm. Ring any bells? Davenport recovered quickly. That was investigated and closed. Accidents happen. They certainly do. Especially to people who threaten your profit margins. You're insane. Davenport looked around. Everyone hear this? The janitor's having a breakdown. But the crowd wasn't laughing. Several looked uncomfortable. Others leaned in. Curious. Dr. Sarah Mitchell stood, smoothing her dress. Actually, Mr. Davenport, I think we should hear him out. Who the hell are you? Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Investigative journalist. I've been researching your corporate malfeasance for 3 years. Davenport's eyes darted between them. This is a setup. No, Marcus said. This is justice. There's a difference. Security. Davenport shouted. Remove these people. 2 guards started forward, but Sarah held up her phone. I'm live streaming to 40,000 followers. Touch us, and it's assault witnessed by thousands. The guards froze. Marcus set down his mop. You said I was invisible, that I could disappear and nobody would notice. You're half right. For 2 years, I've been invisible, but disappearing. That's your future, not mine. You're nobody. A janitor with delusions. I wasn't always a janitor, but you knew that, didn't you? 15 years ago, you had my father killed. James Chen was going to destroy you, so you destroyed him first. The ballroom erupted in whispers. Your father. Davenport's face went pale, then red. Some conspiracy theory from a grieving son. Not a theory. Marcus pulled a tablet from his cart. Documented fact. He connected to the ballroom's AV system. Let me share something. The projection screen flickered. A document appeared. Davenport Industries letterhead. 15 years old. This is an internal memo from your Kuta legal. It details safety violations at 3 plants. Equipment failures causing toxic gas leaks. Projected casualties. 8 to 15 workers within 6 months. Estimated repair cost, $2.3 million. The crowd leaned forward, reading. Davenport lunged for the tablet, but Marcus stepped back. The next slide shows your response. Repairs not financially viable. Increased insurance coverage. Cheaper to settle than fix. Gasps rippled through the audience. Phone cameras started recording. That's out of context. Those documents are stolen. Not stolen, recovered. Marcus clicked again. My father's original testimony draft. Meeting scheduled for June 15th, 15 years ago. He died June 14th. Deadly silence. Coincidence. A tragic coincidence. Really? Sarah stepped forward with her own tablet. I have the original police report from that accident. The first investigators found clear brake line tampering. That finding was removed after a phone call from the mayor's office. The mayor who received a $500,000 campaign donation from Davenport Industries 3 weeks later. People stood now, moving closer. Davenport looked around frantically, seeing his empire crumbling. You can't prove any connection, can't I? Marcus's voice remained steady. Let me ask you something. Do you remember Victor Reeves? Davenport froze. Never heard of him. Victor Reeves was the mechanic who serviced my father's car the day before he died. Victor disappeared 2 weeks after the accident. Body found in a warehouse fire 6 months later. But before he died, Marcus clicked to another document. He made a video confession. Would you like to see it? This is illegal. Where are my lawyers? Your lawyers? Thompson left 5 minutes ago. Martinez is on the phone with federal prosecutors, negotiating her immunity deal. He wasn't lying. Near the exit, Davenport's inner circle were on phones, pale and sweating. But here's the thing, Mr. Davenport. Marcus stepped closer, voice dropping to a whisper. The microphone caught perfectly. The factories. My father, that's not even why I'm really here. Davenport's eyes widened. Well, that's just the opening act. The real show is about to begin. Sarah Mitchell took over, voice carrying authority. For 3 years, I've been investigating Davenport Industries with Marcus's assistance. What we found goes far beyond one murder. She clicked her tablet. New documents flooded the screens. Offshore accounts in the Caymans totaling $340 million in unpaid taxes. Shell corporations funneling money from pension funds. Bribes to 17 government officials across 8 states. Environmental violations poisoning water supplies for 40,000 people. The crowd's murmur grew. Several guests backed toward exits. Oh, we're just starting. Sarah smiled coldly. Marcus, show them the factory. Marcus pulled up video footage. Dark, grainy, but clear. A manufacturing plant. Workers in minimal safety gear. Toxic fumes visible. This is from 6 months ago. Your Bangladesh facility. 18-hour shifts. Children as young as 14. No ventilation despite carcinogenic chemicals. OSHA violations. International labor law violations. Those factories aren't even in America. But American-owned. A new voice interrupted. Senator James Morrison walked through the crowd. And subject to the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which you violated 237 times, I've been reviewing Ms. Mitchell's evidence. Quite thorough. Davenport stumbled backward. Jim Sonato, we played golf. We played golf. Before I knew you were a murderer and a fraud. I didn't murder anyone. Marcus played another video. A haggard man in his 50s. This is Martin Webster, your former head of security, currently in protective custody. Martin. Video. Martin's voice was hoarse. Richard Davenport ordered me to arrange James Chun's death. He provided a contact, someone who specialized in mechanical accidents. I passed the order along. 2 weeks later, Chun's car went off that bridge. Davenport paid me $50,000 cash and promoted me. The ballroom erupted. Shouts, gasps, crying, stockholders calling brokers, board members distancing themselves. You're watching an innocent man be destroyed. Davenport screamed. Sarah pulled up financial records. The money trail. $50,000 withdrawn the day before James Chen died. Payments to a demolition company that destroyed factory evidence. Hundreds of thousands to witnesses who recanted. Journalists who killed stories. Inspectors who overlooked violations. Marcus added more documents. Your personal emails from a private server. You discuss handling problems, making people disappear, burying evidence. You got sloppy, arrogant. You thought you were untouchable. I am untouchable. Are you? Senator Morrison nodded toward exits, where guests fled. I count 15 people who would have defended you an hour ago. Now they're running. Catherine Davenport removed her bracelet, placed it on a table. I want a divorce. Don't try to reach me. She walked away. Catherine, a board member, stood. The board is removing you as CEO. Security will escort you from all properties. Your access is terminated. Marcus played one final recording. Davenport himself, drunk in his office. Nobody cares about factory workers. They're replaceable. Chen thought he was a hero, but he was naive. One accident. Problem solved. The screen went black. Sirens wailed outside. Federal agents entered, badges displayed. Richard Davenport, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, tax evasion, bribery, and 40 other charges. Davenport didn't go quietly. He fought, screamed, threatened, pleaded. The agents cuffed him professionally. Do you know who I am? He shrieked as they led him past Marcus. I'm worth $900 million. $860 million. Marcus corrected. Stock dropped 43% in 15 minutes. They'll freeze your assets by morning. By week's end, after legal fees and settlements, you'll have nothing. Davenport stopped struggling. For the first time, he really looked at Marcus, not threw him at him. You planned this. All of it. For 15 years. Every day. Every moment. Marcus stepped closer. You said I was invisible. You were right. Invisible people see everything, hear everything, remember everything. I'll get out. I have lawyers, had lawyers. Past tense. Sarah held up her phone, showing news alerts. Major outlets are running the story. Federal prosecutors are calling this the biggest corporate corruption case in decades. No bail, Richard. You'll spend the rest of your life in a very small room. Davenport's legs buckled. The agents held him up. Please, I can pay. You can't pay for 15 years of my life, Marcus said. You can't pay for my father's life. For the 12 workers who died, or their families. For thousands of people you've damaged. Money was your power. Now it's gone. Who are you without it? No answer. Just a broken man finally understanding powerlessness. Senator Morrison approached Marcus, extending his hand. Your father would be proud. Thank you, Senator. What will you do now? Marcus looked around. 300 people had been here now, maybe 50 remained, watching him with respect mixed with fear. He picked up his mop. What are you doing? Sarah asked. Finishing my shift. There's still a mess to clean up. Marcus, justice was served tonight, Dr. Mitchell. But someone still needs to mop these floors. I don't leave work unfinished. As agents led Davenport away, Marcus returned to his task. The remaining guests parted like water for this janitor who'd destroyed a billionaire. He cleaned methodically, professionally. As cameras recorded and the world discovered what had happened. By the time he finished, the ballroom was empty, except for Sarah. What happens tomorrow? Marcus removed his janitor shirt, revealing a crisp white dress shirt underneath. From his locker he retrieved a tailored executive jacket. Tomorrow, the real work begins. 6 months later, Marcus Chen stood in different offices. Phoenix Industries headquarters, the company he'd founded with whistleblower reward money and Davenport settlements. Mr. Chen, the city council is here, his assistant announced. Marcus looked out at the city below, the same city where his father had died, where he'd spent 2 years mopping floors, where he'd learned that true power comes from purpose, not wealth. Send them in. Council members entered nervously. Marcus offered chairs but remained standing. We've reviewed your proposal, the council president said. It's ambitious. Ambitious as building billions on dead workers' backs, Marcus replied. What I'm proposing is fair. His proposal: transform 3 former Davenport factories into worker-owned cooperatives, establish a $50 million fund for families affected by corporate malfeasance, create a watchdog organization with real teeth. The former board is resisting. The board under investigation. Let them resist. Marcus pulled up financial documents. I've acquired controlling interest. As of this morning, they work for me. Or they don't work at all. Over 6 months, Marcus had systematically dismantled Davenport's empire and rebuilt it, not for revenge, for justice. Every corrupt deal exposed and unwound, every bribed official reported, every unsafe factory upgraded or closed. His phone buzzed. A message from federal prison visitor request from inmate number 83,947, Richard Davenport. Marcus showed Sarah, now chief ethics officer. Should I go? That's not my decision. He declined the request. I got my closure 6 months ago. He wants forgiveness or an audience for excuses. He gets nothing. Instead, Marcus visited his father's grave. Fresh flowers already there. He came every Sunday. We did it, Dad. Not your way. Maybe. You believed in the system. I learned the system only works if people force it to work. I learned to be alone with that truth. To sit with anger, grief, years of waiting. In that solitude, I found what you wanted me to find: my real power. Not revenge, purpose. Former Davenport employees reached out. Some apologized. Others asked for jobs. He hired carefully those genuinely remorseful, wanting to rebuild. The ones who'd mocked him that night. They tried approaching at industry events. Suddenly respectful. Marcus was polite but distant. He remembered every face, every laugh. You're kinder than I'd be. Sarah commented after he declined lunch from someone who'd called him pathetic. I'm not kind. I'm focused. Revenge is expensive. Justice pays dividends. The trial moved forward. Martin Webster turned state's witness. Others followed. The corruption went deeper than Marcus had known. Month 4, Davenport's wife divorced him. Children changed their names. Net worth dropped to negative $50 million. Month 5, 3 board members indicted as co-conspirators. Month 6, trial began. Marcus attended opening day. Davenport was led in wearing orange, hands cuffed. He looked 20 years older, broken. Their eyes met. Davenport's filled with hate, Marcus's with acceptance. All rise for the Honorable Judge Chen. Marcus's breath caught. Judge Margaret Chen, his aunt. His father's sister, Justice. Sometimes the universe balances itself. 1 year after that night, Marcus stood before 2,000 people at the dedication of the James Chen Memorial Center for Worker Justice. My father believed one person could make a difference. Marcus told the audience. He died trying to prove it. For years, I thought the world punished him for that belief, that his faith in justice was naive. He paused, looking at the crowd. Former Davenport employees who now owned factories, families of explosion victims who'd received justice, students on Memorial Fund scholarships, journalists, activists, workers' people, fighting for dignity. I was wrong. My father didn't fail. He planted a seed. It took 15 years to grow, but it grew. This center, this movement is his legacy, and it's just beginning. Thunderous applause. Sarah Mitchell stood off to the side, working on her next investigation. Senator Morrison was there, having pushed through new legislation in James Chen's name. Judge Margaret Chen attended, eyes wet with tears. After the ceremony, Marcus returned to his office. A letter waited. Prison postmark. He almost threw it away. Then Curiosity 1. Dear Mr. Chen, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing because you deserve truth. I killed your father not because I had to, but because I could. Because I'd learned that power without accountability meant freedom. I was wrong. Prison is teaching me what you already knew, that being alone strips away all lies we tell ourselves. Without my money, status, yes men, I'm nothing. You were right. I was powerful. You had power. The difference destroyed me. It saved you. I won't ask you to write back. I just wanted you to know that everything you built matters. You didn't just beat me. You proved the world I built was wrong. That's far greater victory than prison. Richard Davenport. Marcus read it twice, then filed it away. Not as trophy, as a reminder. Evil wasn't always loud. Sometimes it wore expensive suits and gave to charity. Sometimes it looked like success. His phone rang. A worker from Cleveland Cooperative, calling with a safety concern. Marcus spent 30 minutes listening, taking notes, promising action. Then a journalist investigating another corporation. Then a law student asking advice. This was his life now. Not glamorous, not easy, but meaningful. At 7 p.m., he left for his modest apartment. He'd kept it even after Phoenix Industries made him wealthy. Kept it as a reminder of those 2 years. Those 2 years of invisibility that taught him to see clearly. Simple dinner news. Coverage of another corporate scandal investigated by the center bearing his father's name. He smiled quietly. Tommy texted. Saw you on TV again. Can't believe you were MIT educated. Why really do the janitor thing? Marcus typed back. Because I needed to disappear to find myself. To be alone with my purpose. That's when I found my real power. Not in my degree or wealth, but in knowing exactly why I existed. Revenge would have made me like him. Justice made me into me, he added. Also, the pay wasn't great, but the view was excellent. You see everything from the bottom. All the cracks in the foundation. Tommy sent a laughing emoji. The hotel renamed our training program after you. The Chen Standard. Ethics, workers' rights. Speaking truth to power. You changed things, man. Marcus walked to his window. The city glowed below, millions of lights, millions of lives. Somewhere, someone was being exploited. Somewhere, someone was being silenced. Somewhere, someone was learning they were invisible. But they weren't, not anymore. The Memorial Center had field offices in 12 cities. The hotline received hundreds of calls daily. The legal fund had taken on 43 cases. The movement was growing. One person could make a difference. His father proved it. Marcus proved it again. He pulled out his journal, the one he'd kept 15 years, documenting every piece of evidence. On the last page he wrote, "To anyone who feels invisible, powerless, forgotten, you're not. Your time is coming. Justice moves slowly, but it moves. Learn to be alone with your truth. That solitude will forge you into something they can never break." They think the bottom is weakness. They're wrong. The bottom is where you learn what holds everything up. And when you understand the foundation, you can change the whole structure. Your power isn't given. It's discovered in quiet moments, when you refuse to become what hurt you, when you choose justice over revenge, when you stay true even when nobody's watching. That's when you find your real power. That's when you become a king.